All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It is Dave. It is the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people, just like you and just like me. Motley Crue's new movie, The Dirt, is making a lot of waves, and some of those waves are not so good. If you're a feminist or part of the woman's Me Too movement, this isn't a movie that you want out there as an example of male behavior. Typically, I don't get political in these, and I think for the most part, this is in the past, and hopefully human beings in rock bands today are not doing the things that they used to do 30 plus years ago. But, you know, there is the likelihood that some of them probably still are. I think Motley Crue is at the top of their game, so to speak, doing the things that they were doing. It was an orgy. It was just drugs, hardcore drugs. It was relationship issues. I mean, all of these things, you couldn't find more dysfunction if you tried in one small group of people. And look, these guys, the childhoods weren't ideal. The parenting was very suspect. Maybe giving a little bit of daylight or providing some space for these guys to go off and just do the most decadent things. I understand that the women, you know, consensual, sure, but man, oh man, the type of example this sets for people who weren't there, who didn't understand the culture, who didn't understand that this was just the rock band mentality back in the 70s and 80s. Maybe even into the 90s a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, the 90s certainly still embraced the drug culture, but between the rampant orgy-like activity, and some of the scenes in this movie are softcore porn. Some of them are disturbing in their, you know, showcasing of certain activities, and you think to yourself, you know, this isn't, you know, it isn't like this anymore, hopefully, but it may be. And I can see why somebody would watch, you know, half hour of this and say, nope, this is just too much. And you kind of have to wonder, you know, there is obviously a place for art and reality and telling the story properly, but there are places too where maybe you can sanitize some of the behavior, or at least modify the degree to which this behavior occurs in the film, to make it a little bit more palatable and to make it also a little less offensive to the year 2019. I mean, as human beings, hopefully we're getting better. Maybe we're not. In some areas we're getting worse. But the decade of decadence and the amount of decadence here is even shocking to me, because I lived through the 1980s. It was kind of like my decade. You know, I look at the 80s as the definitive decade of great music, and, you know, life was pretty good on planet Earth, I thought, in the 1980s. But this is an extreme that I'm uncomfortable with, and I know a lot of people are. I mean, I reviewed this the other day, and I was pretty much taken in by the whole thing with Vince Neil's daughter, as the movie tends to pivot toward the end to try to redeem everything, and the guys are back together again, and, you know, they're not as crazy as they used to be, and they're more grounded. So there is kind of a happier ending to it. But man, oh man, the stuff that people really want to know about, the actual dirt, that stuff, that's dirt. That's heavy-duty dirt. And I get it. That's the name of the movie. But I'm just wondering if this was too much dirt, and maybe some of that could have been left on the cutting room floor. There could have been a little bit of an alternative script while still telling a fairly accurate story. Don't know. I do know that I feel uncomfortable, and like I needed, you know, to say a few prayers or something after the movie was over. You know, if I was a Roman Catholic, I'd be going to confession, because it's pretty heavy-duty stuff. So, yeah, it's an interesting movie. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, though. It's not for mixed company, and it's not for kids in the room, and it's not for work, and it's not for even maybe daytime viewing. I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of rock fans will like it and will embrace it and just say, yeah, it happened, it's great. But I'm kind of at the very end, the it's great part, it's not so great. Let's just be honest about it and not build it up as like, ooh, it's something that we ought to celebrate and look to as some kind of artifact from the past that we need to embrace. I'm just not there with it. So, in any event, I guess this will probably make you want to watch it, right? All right, I'm done. See you soon. Take care.